Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today I'm talking about something that is hard for a lot of us to hear because we don't want to have to feel like that's the perfect word, it's feel like. We don't want to have to feel like we have to live under the consequences of things that happened before us. That we should be able to just come here as a blank slate and start and do and have and be able to have the life that you think that you want inside of you, and not paying attention to the things that have happened before on why it is that we have today. Because I'm just going to say that there's a lot of things that go on in this planet and in this world that just, it's hard to explain. You know, someone would say God clearly isn't real because there's bad things that happen on this planet. God clearly isn't here to benefit anybody because we've got homeless people and people that are starving, people that are hungry. God isn't here because there's some kids that are getting abused right now and they don't have anybody to advocate for them. They can't do anything. They're just in a sucky, crappy situation. A lot of people would say that God isn't real because if God was real, he wouldn't allow any of that to happen. He wouldn't make that happen. But if you come into this world thinking that you have no fault, you have no negative behind you, you have no problems, you're going to be sadly mistaken that you're living in a world that is not governed by God, I'm going to say, as opposed to the world that you're thinking why everything out here is so terrible and so hateful and so disastrous is the one that doesn't have God. And it's something that I hope I can explain to you in a way to be able to help you out, to be able to understand some things about who God is, what God is, and be able to bring you closer to him, because there's some stuff about him that is challenging, but it's not so challenging in the fact that once you understand where we came from and how things were in the beginning, you're going to have a way better understanding of knowing where it is to go next. And sometimes if you just want to erase your history, you're going to go right back into your history. Sometimes if you just want to think that you can recreate that history to be what you want it to be, that you can see a better world out here. And I'm going to tell you that that's not going to happen. That may happen if you're able to isolate yourself to the point that you're nowhere near a human being. You don't need them for anything. You don't need no customer service for nothing. You don't need to buy anything. You just live in the wilderness and you see nobody 100% of the time of your life, and you just take care of yourself. You can create your own world at that point in reality, because you're not going to have an issue with any of the people out here. You're not going to have an issue with anything going on. But I'm going to guarantee you there's pretty much nowhere you can go on this planet anymore to do such a thing. That you're going to have to be around people, and people are going to do some things to you that are going to have to let you know and let you see the realness of what's going on out here. That you can't just erase what used to be there, thinking that that's going to make things better in the future. The reason that we're struggling and hurting today is because of things that people previous to us have been doing that have just destroyed everything about where we're at today. Is that fair or unfair? There's no such thing as fair or unfair when it comes to that. It's just us as humans living, doing what we're doing. And some of us are just, I'm going to say, really good inside, but in reality, we're not all good. We're not all evil. We're on a balance of two. And some of us are more on the balance of, on the evil sense, that they just don't know how to get out of that. They just want to hurt and destroy and just damage everything everywhere they go. They just want to steal and manipulate and just trash everything along the way. But that's something that is very, very dangerous. There's other people that are, you would say, are more good than more bad. But there's no person on this planet that is just all good. Because even Jesus, who walked this land, when people come to him and say, hey, good teacher, he says, he's got to stop them a second and say, hold on. Only God is good. And God, being God in spirit in heaven, is good. God on this land, you can't be what is in heaven. And so there's no one on this planet that's walked this planet that is just all good and perfect and good to go. That some things have happened, some challenges have happened. And most of the challenges that we live today is because of something that someone did in the past. And if we don't have the information, we don't do the research, we don't study what happened before, we're going to be that same thing. We're never going to be able to figure out how to be able to get out of it. There's been multiple times that the people in the Bible have been doing what they're doing and come to the time that they just rejected God 100%. Just gave up on him. It's just times have happened that there was a strong leader that came, strong leaders, and just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And then as soon as that leader passes away, it's like the word of God just disappears. And then God's like, oh man, I got to bring someone back again. And then someone comes back again. and they start to believe again. They start to find the commands again. They start to find the law again. They start to practice it. They start to do what it is that they need to do. And then God starts to come back to them again. And then they have great year after year, decade, and then great century after century even. And then that person dies, and then those people die. And then it's right back into the wilderness again, where we just disappear and don't remember and don't know and don't want to pay attention to it. Because sometimes there's some things that we do that doesn't make sense. It's like, why are we doing that? And a lot of times we end up doing that in a religious sense. That's the best way to say it. That we do certain things that are kind of like, why are we doing this? Like praying at a specific time, at a specific location, at a specific angle, all day, every day. That once that person just disappears, that why everyone's doing that, it's going to fade away to the point that when those leaders pass away, the new generation coming up is going to say, why are we doing this? This doesn't make sense. Why are we acting like this? When we're having to do these festivals and having to do these sacrifices and having to do these things, and all of a sudden you got the next generation that comes up that says, I don't like killing animals like this. I don't even want to eat those. I eat veggies. I pick my berries. I don't want to do that. I want to be a part of that. Knowing that before, that's what was required to be able to be, say, in the good graces of God before Jesus came. So there could be a generation say, I don't want to do that. And then they stop doing that. And then they start slipping, and they start falling away, and they start going into a disastrous state. There could be some people that say, a lot of stories that are coming up in this book that I'm going to continue to keep talking about is, God says, I need you, want you, and you have to do this for me. And then the guy's just like, no, I'll do it halfway. And then it puts him in a jam. And then he gets mad at God in reality. And then he wants to try to get back at him. And then God's like, I'm going to put something upon you. And that's a beautiful story of Saul and David, where Saul just got evil because God put that upon him, because he decided not to do what God was asking him to do. And he decided right in the beginning even to just disrespect him and do something that already set him up for failure. And then he just kept living his life knowing what his failure was going to see. He saw it, and then it came, and it happened, and there it is, and there it was. And it's just a lot of times we just keep doing this. That God is pressuring us. He's tugging at our shirt. He's saying, come on, man, come on. Come on, girl, let's go. Let's go. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And then you don't do it, and then it just goes away. And then all your family just gets astray because you were the one that was supposed to be teaching it to your family. You were the one in the leadership position inside of your household to be able to make sure that everyone around you was going to grow up to have the faith needed and required to be able to know how to live a nice, successful life on this planet. A lot of people like to use that word of success as thinking it's money and fame and all this. That's got nothing to do with success. I don't care how much money you have. It doesn't mean you're successful. It just means that you're successful at doing one thing, which is figuring out how to be able to take resources from someone to keep for yourself. That doesn't mean that you know how to give out praise and joy and grace to people. It just means that you know how to take something from somebody, as opposed to trying to give something to somebody and actually seeing them get into a better place. That's something that is becoming very, very, that's a good way of saying it, is ruthless nowadays with what it is that we do. That we like to sell something to somebody that is absolutely meaningless to try to make an income, because we got to take and steal from others so that we can figure out how to be able to get more and get more. And you're getting more to try to satisfy yourself, but you realize the more you get, you're not getting any satisfaction. You're not getting any success. You're just having to keep doing it over and over and over again. So something today that I was wanting to move on to talk about a different story, but I just want to talk about the same story again, because the same story is something that's very, very powerful. And a lot of times we get into a sticky situation that in reality, God put us in that, people. God put you in the sticky situation. God put you in the bad place. God got you hooked to drugs. God got you in bad relationships. God got you a bad knee and a bad hip and a bad back. He's done that. He's made that happen because of choices and decisions that we're making. Because of choices and decisions that, which sucks probably the absolute most, is people before you did. People before you did some savage things, did some ruthless stuff. People before you probably sacrificed kids. People before you probably did even worse than that. That I don't even know what's worse than that in reality, but probably even worse than that. The people before you just kept doing worse and worse, all to the point of the first two people that did some stuff that just extreme disobedience to God, just because they just did that. And we are living under the problems of the people all before. Someone would say that's not fair. And in this world, I'm going to let everybody know that there's nothing fair about this life. There's nothing fair about what goes on around us. There's nothing fair that's ever happening out here, and there's nothing fair that God ever says should be fair. He says that things should be right and things are wrong. That's it. And we're not going to try to pick and choose some things to make you feel good as opposed to picking and choosing things that you just have to know, have to understand, and have to live by, because it is what it is that God is requiring us to do. And if you don't want to agree with that, I'm telling you, that's why you're struggling so much. That's why you have so much backlash going on still consistently in your life, because you haven't been able to get away from the previous, and realizing that you can be a person to start and restart a whole new generational a blessing upon your life and your children's life and everyone else around you's life. That you could be the person to stop it and move forward. And that's what's going on every single time in every single story, that person saw all the negativity. It's like every story just comes from when one left off, someone passed away and the people forgot. Someone passed away and the people forgot. And then a new person comes in, and we understand that there was plagues. We understand that there was just all this crazy stuff. We understand that there was all this murder going on. We understand that all this just crazy madness was going on. But when the new person came in, that new person that knew the truth, that understood it, that had the word, that had the understanding of knowing what to do, came in, they changed all that. And in reality, almost instantaneously, they changed all that. They came in and said, hey, this is God's law right here. He found the book. He started reading the book. He's like, here we go. And it's like Samuel, book of Samuel. First book of Samuel. In that time, the word was gone. No one heard it. No one knew it. It was just extinct. It was just non-existent. And then Samuel had it and found it and got it because he was preaching and he was taught by someone who taught it. But it was just a small little group of people that knew it at that time. And Samuel got that word and he gave it to multiple, way more people. And then he pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And it did absolutely amazing things to make sure that more people could understand. He put in a king in place that the people were begging and asking for, even though he was like, you don't want this. He brought in another person to be able to replace that king, knowing that next person that came, David, was going to be the one that's just going to take over it all and be an absolute blessing to this planet. To everyone around him, to everyone he talked to, and everyone he spoke everything about him. Just transformed this world back. But before that, we were lost. We were confused. And that's for something I'm going to say is today that's kind of going on that I just noticed to see is we're lost and we're confused. That we were sold into slavery and we don't really understand who we are anymore. And that's what happened right away with Moses. That's the meaning for Moses. But before Moses, there was Abraham. Abraham had his son Isaac. Isaac had two sons, the Jacob and Esau. And Jacob is the one that had to come to do some incredible things. But it was Joseph in reality that did incredible things on having two, Joseph is Jacob's son, that got sold into slavery by his brothers that ended up into the Egyptians. So he was the first one sold to slavery. He was sold into it in a negative way. And then he had the power of God behind him that he was able to convince these Egyptians that you like me. He's just a likable person. Because when you got God's favor, people are just going to want to come close to you. When you got the answers to their problems, people are going to want to listen. Like, man, you got the answer to every single one of my issues. And that's what Joseph had. He had the answers. And then he had to bring in his whole family. Even though his family threw him away, even though his family sold him to slavery and told him to daddy that he was dead, he still brought him in and brought him close and brought him to the land. And the reason he had to bring him to the land because of the famine. There was a 7-year famine going on. No food, no growing, no nothing for 7 years. That's disastrous. So he had to bring them in. And then they needed more food, so they had to sell some animals. Then they needed more food, so they had to sell themselves at that point. And they sold themselves, and then the next generation comes in. And then that's where Moses comes, because there was an old generation that sold themselves into slavery to be able to survive. They had to do what they had to do to survive. But it was written in the beginning that you're going to be in a land that isn't yours, that you don't know nothing about, that you don't even understand these people, and you're going to do some work for them, and then God is going to come in to show you who God is all about. And this is what I'm going to say is what God is and what he's all about. That he's going to bring you and put you in a sticky situation to bring you out of it, to show you who he is. That if everything was just good and good and good, and then you in reality wouldn't believe in God. And that's why I'm going to say it's kind of challenging to talk to some people, because some people I'm going to say are just doing all right. They're doing pretty good. Life is awesome. They don't see no negativity. They don't see nothing bad happening. Everything is just great. Everything is just amazing. Everything is just so peaceful and so awesome. They look at the world, they hear the news, and they're just like, oh, that's fantastic. There's a war going on over there. That's pretty cool. That's all right. You know, they had no depression in their life. They had no one abused them in their life, and everything is good. So to me to talk to you, I got nothing to say in reality, because your life is already good. You don't have anything that you're needing to get out and get away from. In reality, God's not going to be able to work in you yet, is what I'll say with that. But there's a whole bunch of people out here that are needing them, because you're in a situation that you don't know how to get out of. And that's the whole story of Moses. It's not only just about human beings being in slavery. We as human beings are in slavery to multiple things on this planet. It's not just a person in a relationship. It's not just a drug, any sort of substance like that. It's not some job and some boss person that's being ruthless to you. It's not just your own kids that are just driving you wild, driving you mad. Your landlord or the banks that are just oppressing you and just not giving you what you need, and or giving you too much what you need, that's making it hard and making it worse off for you. There's everything going on with this story, that a lot of times I think that we read this Bible and we just get we just want to have a one view at it. But there's an unlimited amount of views going on here. That God we're listening to this story, but in reality, this story is going on around the entire world with all of the people. But not all of the people decided to worship God. Not all the people decided to pay attention to him. Not all the people decided to just, I see what you've done and I'll praise you for that. Not all the people decided to do that. And that's why their names aren't in that book, because they didn't agree. And that's why every single time that you hear of the Israelites having to take over this camp and take over this tribe and take over this army, it's because those people, God went to those people. God just doesn't have people out here that he's not speaking to. He's not just trying to influence and help me out. He's helping you out. I'm just decided to take on the realization that I see it, I understand it, I feel it, I know it. I see things that happen on my day-to-day, minute-to-minute, that go on that I'm just like, yeah, that is what it is. Just going for a walk, just standing out here and looking at these trees lets me know there's something fantastic going on out here. And not all of us are out here just alone. That God is doing something for all of us, but not all of us want to do anything. Not all of us want to step up to the plate and make something happen. Not all of us are actually paying attention. And that's where God moves in. He's going to move a person who wants to listen, who wants to believe, and he's going to move them in and push those other people out and push them away. So God is speaking to everybody. And there's many times in the Bible where it's talked about blotting my name out of this book. You're taking my name out of this if you don't agree with me. And God definitely 100% does that. So some of us are out here or just the Israelites are just the only people for God. And that's very, very misleading, because that's not the only people that he's here for, especially when Jesus comes and he clearly 100% says that. I'm for everybody. It's just to get that clarification out so that we're not feeling confused about who God is for. God is for every single person on this planet. Even from the first day in the book of Genesis, clearly in the book of Genesis, he's for the first two people. Who came from the two people? Everybody. God is for everybody. So there needs to be some confusion getting out of some people that think that you're the only ones that can hear from God and you're the only one that can be a representation of God. That no, your mind is so small compared to who God is, because God made all of this. I mean, just dig up a thing of dirt. There's more in that thing of dirt in a shovelful that you could pick up than people on this planet. There's more than 8 billion microbes and little things that are going on that are alive within one scoopful. Then the human beings that walk this planet. Don't put your thinking on God as being so small and so tiny. He's huge. And that's why the stories are amazing when you really start to open up your thinking to that, knowing that what's going on here, knowing that if you don't believe and you want to reject, and you see the things that happen to you're begging, asking, and pleading and looking for it, and he gives it to you, and you still keep on ignoring him, some things are going to happen to you that it's not for me to I don't want it to happen. I want everyone to be able to have and great, but at the same time, this isn't mine. This isn't my world. I didn't create this. And a lot of us are getting confused with this new narrative that's going on, that it is yours and everyone should be able to have the equal stuff. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing. We didn't create this. So we can't make the rules that are out here. Whoever created it is the one that is able to make the rules. And God created it so God can make the rules. And whatever his rules are, those are the rules. And when you live by those rules, you're going to have a completely different experience on this life. You're going to have something that is going to be able to exponentially move you into different levels of success in life and livelihood that you've ever been able to experience. Don't worry about the donkey, man. He's so funny. You're going to be able to have something that is just awesome. You're going to be able to have and be able to be around some things that are going to be able to just really, really please you. But when you want to continue to keep rejecting, that's where you're going to keep on finding your problems. That's where you're going to keep on finding all the just drama that keeps coming to you. That's where you're going to find that you're always sick. You're always hurt. You're always broken. You're always destroyed. And God is coming to you to try to get you out of that. In reality, like I said, he puts us in sticky situations to get you out of it, to really show his glory. And we're in a lot of these sticky situations because of what people have done before. That I don't know what my grandma, great-grandma, and great-great-grandma were all about. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they, when I was born, that someone just looked at me and they were just like, I hope you die before you even make it to 5 years old. I hope that this happens to you, and even try to do stuff like that to you. Who knows? Who knows if anything like that happened? Who knows if you were born and your own mother said, I can't stand you. You disgust me. I just don't want nothing to do with you. Get the heck out of here. I don't even want to feed you. I can't stand hearing you cry, and just starts abusing, mistreating, and just being ruthless with you. Who knows? Who knows if that went down with you? Who knows if that happened to you? Who knows if you had a brother or sister that looked at you and just was like, I hate you. I hate you. And every day, all the time they looked at you, they put all that energy on you. And they were worshiping and praising to whatever they could to just say, if you could just kill him, if you could just hurt him. And that stuff works, people. That stuff works. Who knows if that was going on with you? The reasons that was going on with you is why you're struggling and why you're hurting. But there has to come a time of day that you're going to get a realization on, I can get away from that. I can get out of that. I don't need to be a part of that. I don't need to stay in that. I want to go somewhere completely different. So you've been oppressed, you've been hurt, you've been destroyed, you've been abused, you've been just everything has happened to you. Everything has happened to you. People have put their hands on you. People have violated you. People have gotten you stuck on drugs. People got you stuck in alcohol before you can even think and remember and even know. Some of you are born already addicted to certain substances because of what your parents were doing. It's got nothing to do with you. You could pray all day long and say, I don't want this, but it was given to you. You didn't get a choice. You already have it in you. Some of you are already born with diseases in you. That it just came from you, came from your parents, came from your grandparents, and you were born, and here you are. You're missing a foot, and you don't understand. You don't get it. And a lot of times, a lot of this stuff happens as a testament to God, to how to get myself to get through this and be able to get out of it, to be able to show another person how his glory and his greatness. Because the people were in Egypt, and they were slaves, and then Moses came and got them out, and he had to do these absolute miracles to show the people how fantastic and how great and how miraculous God truly is. And then there's people on this planet, they were able to do similar miracles up to a point. And that's why I'll say that there's some powers that could be on this planet that us as human beings are able to do and able to create. That we could do some things that look like magic. We could do some things like bringing people back from, I don't want to say the dead because technically the correct term is sleep. We could bring people back. We got people on this planet that know how to go out from themselves to go to another person, to get in that person, to try to infiltrate that person while they're sleeping. We got people on this planet that are wishing and putting spells in to be able to figure out how to be able to get a girlfriend, boyfriend, for instance, how to be able to get a sexual partner. We got things going on this planet that know how to just defeat people in their finances, that they could just pray some things and you just fail everything that you do. You never make it happen. It's not you that made that happen. It's something out that has made that happen, and it's come to you. It's come to you not based on what you're doing, but what was done before. So a lot of times we get stuck in this thinking of, I must have this and I must have that, and that's why this is happening to me. But sometimes it's just something already is there. And a lot of times that's where God is going to do some magical work to bring you out, to bring you into being something different. And you got to pay attention. You got to listen. You got to see it. That's why for me, when I started watching, and not even watching, but videos of some people would just start popping up. I'm just like, dude, who are you? What you talking about? Why are you talking? Just shut up. Why are you talking about this God? Who the heck cares about Jesus? He ain't done a damn thing for me. He ain't nobody. What the heck is he here for? What has he done for you? What's going on out here? You see this chaos going on here? That's my mind. And I just saw that video, and I'm just like, it's like God is able to do some incredible things on a fast track way today because of our telephones, because of what we have, because of our computers, because of our internet system that we could beam things all over the place. That I don't have to actually come to you, speak to you, say anything to you. Especially nowadays, we're so shut down and insecure that it's hard to hold the conversation with somebody. And then when you do, it seems like you're attacking them. As opposed to you could watch this video and feel like if I'm attacking, you could just shut it off. Oh, no. But you know what happens? And someone would say, oh, it's the algorithm on the YouTube that does this. No, you're going to just keep seeing it. And then if you just keep rejecting me, you're going to get the next person, then the next person, then the next person, and then the next person. And nowadays, I just have a good understanding of God's not going to quit. He's not going to quit. He's going to give up because he's never given up. And that's the beautiful story of of Moses getting the people out. No matter how much they fought back, God kept pushing forward. No matter how much they gave up on him, God kept pushing forward. No matter how much they just disgraced him and went to other gods, God still came back for them. No matter how many times they just wanted to just kill the people that they thought were trying to help them, God still worked for them. Even though when they just decided to just do everything 100% against what God was looking for and commanded for, He still came back to them. He still came back to them. He came right back to him over and over and over. And that's the power of what love is all about. That he's not just going to one time go out there and just say to you, yeah, you got to this, and you don't do it. And he's like, oh, okay, well, forget it, whatever. You know, do what you do over there. No, he's going to keep on coming back and keep on coming back and keep on coming back, because you're someone to continue to keep working upon, to be able to get where it is that he wants to get to and get done what it is that he wants to be able to get done. And we don't know what it is in reality that we want him to do, that he's doing, that he wants us to get done. And that's for us to just keep on working forward and keep on moving forward and keep on doing what we're doing to figure out what that is in the end. But there's something that I do know is God does some things, makes some things happen. He puts people in power that are going to impress people, that are going to enslave them and destroy people, to prove a point in reality. That most every time that I read this book and I keep reading certain things about it, the people that are complaining the most about what we're enslaved and we need to get out of this, they were begging for what they got in the beginning. They were begging for a leader. They were begging for someone to be there. And then God said, I don't want to give this to you, but since you want it, I'll give it to you. Knowing that this is why God doesn't want to give it to you, because it's not the best thing for you. It's not what you need. You don't want to be under this rulership. And that's like for us today, living in the United States. We do not want to be under the rulership of the government. We do not want to be under the United States government doing everything that they tell us to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to go, when to go to sleep, when to wake up, how to buy this, where to buy this, what to buy this with. We don't want that. But we have a group of people in the beginning, we were saying, please give that to us. Please, we need this. Because we need to be like everybody else. And God's like, no, you don't, man. You got me. You got God. If you got God, that's all that you need. You don't need some human forces to be on top of you. So the people themselves are the ones that put themselves in the sticky situation. Because God even clearly said to them, if I give you this, this is going to happen. This, and this, and this. You're going to have to give up 1/10 of your money. You're going to have to give up 1/5 of your money at one point. You're going to have to give up all your people, all your workers are going to now be my slaves. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to, everything that's just so ruthless. And they're just like, okay, I'll sign up for that. We did it ourselves, and we still do that to today. We still sign up for it. We're like, I know you're not going to give me no vacation. You're not going to give me no sick days. You're not going to give me no this, no that. Yeah, I'll sign up for that. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good deal. We still do that same stuff because we're looking for this ruler, this king to be able to guide us and to be able to show us, as opposed to looking to God for that. So a lot of the problems that we're running into are problems that we put on our own selves. And then the reason on why God in reality puts such a stronghold on us, because he knows what's best for us. And then he puts an even stronger stronghold on us to be able to prove to you that he's the one that got you out of it, that you couldn't have possibly done it. So when things got bad and things got worse, when the Israelites in Egypt were getting slave hammered down to the core of just, they used to work 8 hours and now it's doubled, now it's more work, now it's more work, now it's more work. It just got harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. And it's fascinating that the harder things got, the more kids and the more that they grew. And then that's where the Egyptians really started to get scared, because they're like, oh my goodness, y'all are like multiplying like crazy here. And y'all gonna end up having too many compared to us that you're gonna be able to overrule us. So that's why we're gonna make you work even more now. Now I already made you work more, now you gotta work even more. So they just worked them to the point of exhaustion, so they couldn't think of standing up for themselves or thinking for themselves or doing for themselves in any sort of way. They're just scared on, I got that. I don't know why, but that just kind of sounds like today, people. There was a time in the day in the United States of America that income was able to do fantastic things on this planet. And then it's almost like we started to get too many people here. And then it got to the point, oh no, they might be able to take over what we're doing. So let's make the work harder. Let's make the money less. Let's make the work longer. Let's take all these benefits away. Let's make sure that they have nothing and they just have to work. And now they need 3 people in the household to be able to take care of themselves. So they're just tired and they have nothing. And then they have no extra resources, income, anything, time to be able to figure out how to even be able to build something to be able to come against us. That's something that everything that's going on in this Bible goes on today. And it's something that a lot of us should really pay closer and closer attention to. Because if we're doing what we used to do, we're going to have what we used to have. That's why there's people on this planet that nowadays, when you look at the word and say the word prophet, and someone who has prophecies, they know this because they've read this book and they've seen what's happened. They're watching us do the same stuff, and then we can read the book to see what happens next. And then they say that, and people are like, "Oh my goodness, he knows the future." That's why I know certain things. I know what's going to happen next in the United States of America, unfortunately. And it sucks. It sucks for me to know this, to be able to see what's happening, to know exactly what's going to happen next, know exactly where we're going to go, and I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it because I'm just a simple human being that is on a mission that I just recognize that no one else is on the same type of mission. Everyone else just wants to sit in the church and give a little bit of money and get a hallelujah here and there and think you're doing good and doing great, as opposed to just standing up and saying, I want something different. I don't want to be a part of this madness that's going on out here. I want something different. We demand something different. We have no choice but to need something different. We don't even want, we need. We're stuck in our needs right now that our needs aren't being met. When your needs aren't being met, you got to stand up and do something. You got to stand up and make something happen. And that's why the book of Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers and going into, that's about when it stops with Moses for the most part. But that's why that stuff is so powerful, because it's talking about being oppressed and being in a position that we need to figure out how to be able to get out. And then when the people start to get together and the people start to believe, they aren't believing. They had to bring, Moses had to come through, and God had to bring up someone powerful, someone amazing, someone that no one knows. He's not no celebrity. He's not some grade A multi-billionaire person. No, he's just a regular person that believes in God because he saw God and he feared God because of what he saw from God. And he was able to get the people out of the fear, to realize we can go and do something different, people. And that's what we need to do as a collective group today. We need to figure out how to be able to get together, to be able to do something, to be able to get away out of what we're in so that we can have what it is that we need. We need to get back to just being able to have our needs. Our needs aren't being met. And that's where I know that 100% of us today are struggling worldwide. This isn't just United States of America. United States of America, people think that everything is just so great and so awesome here and so wonderful here. But the money that's made here as opposed to the money that's made somewhere else, it's all equal. It's all equal. You make $30 a month somewhere else, it's the same as making $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 here in America. You're still broke. You still don't have nothing. You still are in need. You still have to, I can't this or I can't that. It's not any different. And a lot of us need to just really recognize that, really understand that, and really start to figure out how to be able to get out of that. And the only way to really get out of that is to get closer to God, as opposed to what our world is trying to do today is get away from Him. And not much of our world, but I just noticed that we have this hard push today going on in the United States of America, because for some reason I know why there's a hard push to get it out, because there's a hard push that there's a lot of people that are standing in front of these cameras that are speaking the same thing that I'm speaking right now, that are saying that we need to do something, we need to get together, we need our own this, we need our own that, we need to get away from them, we need to get our own land so that we can start building, so that we can have our own houses, we can have our own food, we can have our own water. There's more people that are standing up on this camera that are no longer just doing it for themselves and just looking at it as if it's a hobby. To just how do I, that's how I came out here, as a hobby. How do I create food? How do I get chicken? How do I get beef? What do I need to be able to raise out 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 600 chickens? What do I need? What to require? How does it take care of it? Everything. It's just a hobby. And these hobbies are turning into something that is going to be an absolute need. And there's a lot of people that are starting to stand up today. And I know for a fact that that's why. Whatever's going on, and I can't even say government. This is bigger than that. This is way bigger than some simple, silly, stupid United States of America government. There's something way bigger going on here. And the way bigger going on here is doing a way bigger push. And he's doing a push to try to just shut everyone down that's wanting to do that. Because if more and more of us start to stand up, the more and more of us start to pray, the more and more of us start to really express what it is that we're trying to do out here, the harder and harder it's going to be for them to just keep on keeping us enslaved. That we're all going to be able to get educated. Our eyes are going to open up to realizing that we can take care of ourselves and we can do for ourselves. And the more that we keep doing that, and the more that someone's going to come to be able to guide us, to be able to push us through, to be able to have what it is that we need, it's going to be the exact same story of Moses. That someone's going to stand up and be able to give everyone that little bit of trust that you're lacking, that little bit of faith that you're lacking. He's going to be able to guide you to be able to realize, y'all ain't doing what's right. We getting out of that. We're not dealing with that. And God is going to deal with them. He's going to deal with the whole system. and he's going to create an entirely new system. And that's something that we should be doing all our best to figure out how to be able to do, and how to be able to get closer and closer to one another, on how to be able to figure out how to be able to get away from the slavery that we're in. And someone's going to say to me, oh, you're not enslaved. America is the land of the free. America is the land of the most slave-run place, I still believe, right now in this world. And I grew up here. I lived here. I've been born here. But I had the luxury to be able to see and watch and go other places my own self, to be able to see the differences of how people are living. That we here, everything is getting, maybe 50 years ago it was one thing. Maybe 10 years ago even it was one thing. But in 5 years, it's been changing and changing and changing to be something that we all did not sign up for. And that's the power of what I'm going to say, what God is all about. That we were begging for it, and he gave it to us. But now we need to collectively get together and say to God, I need you to lighten my load, man. I see we don't want that. We want to praise you. We want to believe in you. We want to trust in you. We don't want to trust in no king. We don't want to trust in no ruler. We're tired of that. We thought we wanted that. We thought we needed it, but we don't need that. We just need you, God. And God's going to come in and do something fantastic for us. Because I already know that for me, my own personal self, and doing and being and around where I'm at, that I see what he's done for me. I see where he's been able to get me. I see what's been able to happen with me. And it's such an amazing thing. It's such an absolute amazing thing that I would want more and more people to be able to have. To figure out how to be able to, was it 2 days ago, I ate my first chicken that was a real one. First one, a real one. Not these hybrids, not this genetically made meat things, but one that was born and raised, that is as natural as all can be. That it put a lot of, just super emotional for me to do for the first time in my life. Because it was the first thing that I ate that was mine. That was mine. Same thing with my first cow. Every time I eat some enchiladas or I make a burrito or I do anything, there's no words to explain it. Because it's something completely different. It's something, it's so weird. And I would want more and more people to be able to experience that, to be able to have that. Not relying upon everyone else to give you some things that are damaging to you. I had a horrible stomach ache yesterday from eating some berries, that I could taste the chemicals in it. It sickened me. And it's just, that's what we're getting all day today. It's just being sickened by some people that are just trying to destroy us. And something's going to happen to the point that we got to figure out how to get out of that. That it's just, everything is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. We're going to get worse and worse. We're not near yet how far worse it's going to get before everyone starts to just bow down and just say, God, I need help. Because nothing else out here is working. God, I know you're the one. And God's going to bring that and push that and smother that on us. And we're going to have no choice but to start to respect him again, start to obey him again. Start to really just dial in and ask for what it is that he needs and give him what he needs, so that we can be able to have the life that we want, and then God can be able to see the world that he was actually looking to be able to create and be able to build. We're not living that right now. We're not. And we haven't been living that since the day that we got on this planet. And in reality, we'll never be the perfect day one. But if we're all on the balance of good and evil, if we're all more on the good side to be able to do better, we're going to be able to figure out how to be able to shift into what it is that God is looking for. And that's something that I would want all of us to be to experience, who God is and what he's all about and what he's able to do for you. And with that, I just want to say thank you for an absolutely amazing day today. I guess today was the hottest day yet, and I don't know why, but it just doesn't affect me. It doesn't slow me down. It doesn't hinder me in any sort of way. Because when I'm doing my walks and listening to the Bible and stopping and flipping through some pages and stopping and just doing what I'm doing, it just really lets me know how safe and secure I guess I am. That I see what's going on in the world, but my physical body is here, but emotionally and mentally, I'm not here. I'm not here. And it just really lightens up my load. And I'm also blessed of knowing that it must have been hard in the early days, back in the days, because everyone was judged based on one person. If one person did wrong, everyone got the wrath. If one person did wrong, the plague came for all of them. And I'm just blessed that that's no longer that way anymore because of Jesus. And I'm blessed because of that, because I don't need to worry so much that you don't believe. I don't need to just cry out my heart and go on the street and yell at everyone to get everyone to believe because it would affect me in any way. It's not going to affect me because I already know where I'm going and what's going to happen to me and what's going down. And I don't know why, but I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that you can keep on doing what you're doing. You can keep on being savage. You can keep on sexual molesting people. You can keep on killing people, and it's not going to affect me at all. It's not going to affect where I go, what's going to happen to me. It's not going to affect any which way. You can keep on manipulating people to take all their money. You could be the best looking preacher, pastor on the stage and stealing everyone's money and doing all that, and it doesn't affect me at all. You could do what you got to do, and I am just so blessed for that, so thankful for that. And that's the power of who God and what God is all about. That's the power of him, because he's realized, and it's not even that he's realized, he created this and made this. And he knows the progressions of what's going to have to happen and what's going to go down. And that's why today I'm going to say the best times to live. It's an absolute best times to live, because it's up to me to make the decision what it is that I want to do and where it is that I want to go. It's not up to me making sure that I have to force everyone else to do what I do, because that's where things get dangerous. That's where another human being has it in them and the right to harm, kill another person because of what we believe in. But we're no longer living that. So I no longer have to worry. I could say to you what I need to say to you. You don't want to listen? Go over there. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And you keep on doing what you're doing. And don't feel as if you're in some sort of way that you have to force them. You have to force your kids. You have to force your spouse. You have to force anything. No, you got to force your own self. You got to make sure that you're good to go. You got to make sure that you're awesome. Check out this moon. It still doesn't make any sense to me in how it works, but where is it at? It should be right there. It's so crazy on how you can see with your eyes, and these cameras have a lens on it that's like the same as our eyes, but you can't see the moon. It's just, there it is. It's so tiny. See how small it is? It's just so tiny. It's so weird how it's like that. It's so weird. How's it so small? That's all I can zoom. It's really big today. Hope y'all have a great day.